Hi everybody, this is Tracing Roots, Telling Tales Tuesdays, Genealogy with Donna, episode 66, Names Change Over Time. Yes, this is on Wednesday, but yesterday was just so busy that I didn't have a chance to do it. I'm doing it now. So name evolution. There are standardized spellings now, which is a relatively modern concept. Spelling, translations, and identities have shifted. Many ancestors could not read or write, so names were often recorded however they sounded to the person writing them down, which, if you couldn't read or write, first of all, if somebody wrote it down for you, you wouldn't know that that was correct. And two, if you couldn't read or write, then you couldn't even do your own name. So that's why so many times you will see people having done an X and then verified that they knew who that person was. Immigration frequently changes names. Names were shortened, translated, Americanized, or altered to fit a new language or a culture. Interestingly enough, Mike's family has has the Crooks, Crooks. It came from England. On Ellis Island, the junior Crook had his name changed to Way. The reason for that is the immigration officer said, you don't want a name with crooks, they're going to think you're a crook. So we're changing your name. Why the gentleman picked Way, I have no idea, but that's what's been told down the tales. And I do have the English record, and I do see the cross out that puts Way in place of Crooks. So I do have the documentation that shows that. But interesting that it happened to Mike's own family. One person may appear under several spellings. A surname might be spelled 3 or 4 different ways across census, marriage, military, and death records. I have one of those. My mother's maiden name is Kate, C-A-T-E. C-A-T-E. I believe they're from Wales. And in the 1930 census, when I go looking for it, I can't find it. It's like, and I went by the last name, C-A-T-E. I mean, how hard is that? Well, the problem with that is the woman who took it down was a German lady, and she thought it was Katz. So it is spelled K-A-T-Z in the 1930 census. I have sent a updated correction for that because I knew those people, and so I am an eyewitness to the fact that their name was Kate, not Katz. But again, somebody that went door to door in 1930 was taking the census, and they misspelled the name. If I went under C-A-T-E, good luck. But it's what it sounded like to the lady that was taking the census, and that's how it was written, and it was never fixed until I did it. So I'm glad I did. First names also evolve. Margaret becomes Maggie. John becomes John. That's Johannn. Becomes John, John. Giuseppe becomes Joe. So understanding the common name variations can expand your search. Also, maybe in the censuses that were taken door to door, the neighbor might be the one that filled it out, or even the person in the household. It was my son Skippy. Well, his name was Peter John, but they called him Skippy. So Skippy's who's listed. He's 10 years old. Well, when he gets to be 20, he's in there as Peter. But how do we get Skippy and Peter combined? Now, if Peter's not living in the same household, that'll be interesting how Skippy looks like he's gone. So then what? Do you look for a death record? Yeah, welcome to my world. Search creativity. So here's how you have to do it. You have to be very creative. When records seem missing, try phonic spellings, nicknames, initials and alternative versions of the surname. Now, that's something that you can ask older relatives. You know, we used to call, you know, I have a John Matthew. Was he called Matt? Was it called, well, no, he wasn't called Matt. He wasn't called Matthew. Well, what was he called? He was called Matty. He was called Matty? Yeah, that was the nickname he had when he started walking, you know, at a year old. And we called him Matty. We always called him Matty. We still call him Matty. You know, he's 72 years old and we still call him Matty. But wait, what? So family stories help. Seeing it written down somewhere, maybe a family Bible, maybe the family picture album, maybe military records, you know, high school yearbooks might have it in there, and that will help you. But yeah, a lot of it's word of mouth rather than documentation, so it can be difficult. It's not impossible. Somebody might remember the story from long ago, but that's part of the mystery of being a genealogist, is ferreting out the stories, ferreting out the hearsay versus the actuality, and whether or not you can actually get through that brick wall. It's very fun when you do, and it's very frustrating when you don't. Anyway, that's my advice for you today. If there's anything I can do to help you with your family tree, please let me know. And otherwise, I will see you next Tuesday. Have a happy 4th of July, and I'll see you next week.